fourth and final example, and you'll see when we browse into the uCloud platform, we are running this example concurrently with one other. The first two have completed, but we'll do it together with the third example. We want to run multiple files. We will select the language and we will select the encryption option for this example. In our landing page, we again use the search bar at the top of the page to look for Whisper Transcription. Look for the application and land in here. I'm going to need to give the name again, so Whisper Transcription example 4 with multi-file language and encryption. And then again we pick the 16 core machine, and now we need to choose an input directory, not the input file. Since we want to do a directory, we're going to use all of those audio files again. We need to choose an output directory, and we've got that specified in our sensitive folder to be this folder for example 4, where we use that folder. And then we can specify the language again, which in this case we'd like to choose to be, let's use Danish, just for argument's sake, so that we can see that the output does change when we do that. And we're going to set an archive password. And let's just use that same archive password. You can see this password to be able to open that zip file once we are done with these transcriptions. And that's all the parameters that you need to set to do multiple files with language specified and encryption. Each job you run, you can specify exactly how you would like to. This may take a little while, so we'll end this video shortly here and then come back once we've completed example 4's results, and we'll go through what has come out of the model then. Example 4 has now also completed its job. We can go into that job view and have a look at the outputs, and if we click on the standard out at the bottom of the page, we can have a look at the job information, and you can see how long it took each of those to be able to transcribe. In the reduced model, the medium model, this first file took only 1 minute 29 seconds rather than 5 minute 10 seconds to be able to transcribe. Let's also go back out of here and go and have a look at the output that came out of the model. In sensitive data, in our fourth folder, or example 4's folder, you'll notice now that the model has now been forced into transcribing over into Danish, and you'll see the underscore DA on each of the files. I'm just going to download this file again into my downloads folder, just so that you can see that output again. In this folder, I now have a zip file again. If I double click that, it's going to ask me again for a password. You can see this password. You can't see it on my local machine, but that was what we chose. And if I double click this folder now, you'll see that all of the outputs of the model are available. Just going to switch it to a list view to make it a little bit easier to see what's going on. Each of these files is exactly what we would expect from the model producing Danish. So if I bring the text file over, you'll see that all of the output is now in Danish because we forced it into Danish output. You can also see that there are many thank yous in this output that I don't recall being there in the first version. So the quality of the output for Danish is not quite the same, and the content that comes out is not always quite the same for forcing a conversion over into a language. The English output is, in my experience, more accurate than the Danish output, but you can also see that I'm not entirely sure whether the translations that have been completed here are all that good. As with all output from the Whisper transcription model, this is a best attempt by an AI to be able to provide you with your results from your research, or at least your transcription from your audio data. And you always need to post-process your data regardless of whether you do it for a complex, multi-language, multi-speaker file or a single person, very clear, well audio or well spoken and articulated piece of audio. That's it for now, and we'll do a post-processing video at some point in the future.